Hi everybody, today we are going to have our Protecting God's Children lesson. So every year as part of Faith Formation, we like to talk about different ways that we can keep ourselves safe. And this is because God made every single person. He made every person special. He made every person different. And He loves every single person. And because of that, we need to make sure that we are doing everything we can to keep our body safe, to keep our mind safe, our hearts safe, and to make sure that we're keeping other people safe, that we are not hurting people, that we are not saying mean things to people, that we're not hurting people's feelings. And one of the ways that we do this is through something called boundaries. So boundaries is a big fancy word that just means that something is separated, kept apart from something else. Think of a fence at a farm. Usually there is a fence there to keep the animals in one part, and then there is the rest of the farm where people might be walking around, or they might be growing different types of plants. Or inside of a barn, there's different stalls. Each horse has its own stall, or each cow. And that is a boundary that separates each animal's area. Think about your house. You and your siblings might have separate bedrooms. Or you have a bedroom that's separate from your mom and dad's bedroom, or your grandparents' bedroom. Those walls that make your bedroom, or the door to your bedroom, is also a boundary. It says that everything on one side of the door is so-and-so's bedroom, and everything on the other side of the door is not. That's the hallway, that's the kitchen, that's the living room, that's someone else's bedroom, that's the bathroom. There's also boundaries, things that keep other things apart that we can't see. Think about the space around your body. This is something we call personal space. Personal space is something that's a different size for everybody, and it changes depending on who we're talking to or who we're spending time with. So for example, if your mom or dad or grandparent or sibling came up to you and wanted to give you a hug, you would probably be okay with that. That hug would make you feel loved, it would make you feel safe, it would make you feel special. But if a stranger walked up to you on the sidewalk and tried to give you a hug, that would probably not make you feel very safe or very comfortable. You wouldn't want that person to be that close to you. And that's an invisible boundary, something that we can't see with our eyes, but that we know is there. So we know how close we are comfortable with other people being to us. And we know that we can't just go up to other people and get really close to them without making them feel uncomfortable or unsafe. So everybody has their own boundaries. Some boundaries are boundaries that other people give us. Those are like rules that your parents have for you at home, or rules that your teacher has in your classroom. Those are things like rules that grown-ups have to follow when they're driving. You have to go a certain speed limit. You can't drive too fast in your car. Maybe you have to go to bed at a certain time at home. Maybe when you're in class, you have to raise your hand if you want the teacher to call on you to talk. All of those rules are boundaries, things that say what is okay and what isn't, what belongs somewhere and what doesn't belong somewhere. So at home, staying up really late and not getting enough sleep might not belong there. It might not be something that's okay. Your parents want you to get enough sleep. They want you to be healthy. They want you to be happy. They want you to be well rested. So they have a bedtime for you, a time that you need to go to sleep by. That is a boundary that even though you might not like, all the time. It's one that keeps you healthy and keeps you safe. Your teacher has a boundary where they have to call on you in order for you to talk. Even though you might be really excited and really want to say something, that boundary is there so that everybody can get a turn to talk, and people who are talking don't feel bad or get their feelings hurt because someone else is trying to talk at the same time as them. Think about if you're talking to somebody and somebody tries to talk over you or interrupt you. You know, that's really frustrating. That hurts your feelings. It may make you angry or make you sad. And so that rule is in your classroom so that people's feelings aren't hurt like that. That's a boundary that helps people stay safe, that helps people not get their feelings hurt. There's also boundaries that you can make yourself. Boundaries that you can make yourself might be like if there's a particular family member that you don't like to hug or kiss. A boundary might be that you have a favorite pen or pencil that you use at school and you don't want to give it to anybody else to use. Or you have a favorite toy that's very special to you that you don't want anyone to borrow. That's a boundary. If you decide and talk to your parents and say, hey, like, I really want to pick out my own clothes during the day. And that's a boundary. Mom and dad might say, okay, we need to make sure that you're wearing something that's cool enough or warm enough for the day, but you know, if you can pick, you know, a long sleeve shirt today or pants or shorts or whatever you're wearing today. You also have boundaries with your feelings. If there's somebody that you've been playing with that lives in your neighborhood and they start to be mean to you or make you feel badly, you can decide that you don't want to play with that person anymore. That's a boundary. You can say, you know, they hurt my feelings, they make me feel bad, they make me feel sad, they make me feel scared. I don't want to play with them. I don't want to talk to them. And that's a boundary. You can go up to your teacher and say, hey, I'm sitting next to so-and-so and they're always talking, they're distracting me, they're not very nice to me, they bully me, I don't want to sit next to them anymore. And you have the right to ask for that. So even though you might be young in kindergarten and first grade and second grade, just because you're not a grown-up doesn't mean that you don't have some rights, some rules that you can make about your own body and your own feelings. Everybody, no matter how old they are, is able to say what they are and are not comfortable with. Now, this does not mean that you can say, you know, I'm never taking a bath because I don't like them. That's not what we're talking about. Or I'm just never going to eat another vegetable again because I don't like them. We're talking about things that are genuinely unsafe or uncomfortable for you. So not like a food that's not your favorite or an activity that like you don't totally love doing. We're talking about things that are not safe, things that make you really, really upset, things that make you very uncomfortable. So that's people touching you somewhere or so closely that you're not comfortable with. That's somebody saying something to you that is mean or bullying or hurts your feelings. Somebody physically hurting you, kicking, punching, slapping, spitting, yelling, anything like that. Those are the kind of things that we're talking about here with boundaries that keep us safe. So there is a picture that everybody got in their packet, and it has all different sorts of signs on here. So we have a stop sign, we have a speed limit sign, we have a crosswalk where people can walk across the street safely, we have a rose with thorns, we have a helmet, we have a gate, we have an umbrella for the beach, we have a safety vest, a seat belt, another helmet, we have a hat and sunglasses. We have signs about what to do, stop, drop, and roll if there's a fire. There's a castle with a moat around it. We have a bicycle. We have sunscreen, skateboard, rollerblades, a big safety first sign, prickly cactus. So all of these different symbols or pictures mean something. And there's a sheet that goes along with it that looks like this. And it asks questions like, what are some examples of safety lessons and rules that we follow to be safe when we're out in the sun? So what are some boundaries that we can make to make us safe when we're in the sun? So for example, we can wear sunscreen to make a boundary between our skin and the sun. We can wear a hat and sunglasses to keep our eyes or our head or our neck shaded from the sun. And we can use an umbrella to make a physical barrier between us and the sun. So there's different questions like that where, like, what are some activities that need extra safety precautions? What pictures could show the boundary of leave me alone or don't touch me? Kind of like the cactus, like a prickly cactus is like don't touch. So your job is to match up, you can have your parents help you, match up these pictures with the different examples that go along with it and different questions. And then the very last question asks you to think about what you would do if somebody makes you feel uncomfortable, or if somebody doesn't listen to your boundaries, if they don't listen if you say stop, or if you see somebody hurting or making someone else feel uncomfortable. And that's very important to think about. There's a lot of different ways that we can make sure that people respect our feelings and our bodies. We can say no, we can tell them to stop, we can explain, I don't want to hug you, I don't want to give you a kiss, that doesn't make me feel comfortable. We can use our words to tell people that we don't want to do something. We can also use our body language. We can turn away our head, we can cross our arms, like, we want you to stay away. We can hold out a hand to use our bodies. And if somebody is still not listening to you, if they're not respecting the boundaries that you've set, that's when you want to go and get a safe adult. A safe adult is somebody that you trust, somebody that you feel comfortable around, somebody that you know is not going to hurt you. Examples might be your parents, grandparents, neighbor, teacher, coach, best friend's parents, somebody that you feel safe around, and tell them exactly what's happening. We should never, ever, ever keep a secret if you are feeling unsafe or uncomfortable. Even if the person who makes you feel unsafe or uncomfortable tells you not to tell anyone and says like, oh, don't tell your parents about this, or don't tell anybody, we do not want to keep that a secret. If something happens to you that makes you feel unsafe or uncomfortable, you have to tell a safe adult about it. You need to tell them what happened. You need to tell them where it happened. You need to tell them who did it. And the point is so that they can stop it from happening again, and so that they can help to keep you safe. So make sure that you know what you are comfortable with, what makes you feel okay and what does not. Make sure that you know you can tell people if you feel unsafe or uncomfortable. And that if somebody is not listening to you, if they're not respecting your boundaries, you go and tell another adult what's happening. We also need to make sure that we are respecting other people's boundaries. So if we want people to make us feel safe and comfortable, we need to make sure that we're doing things that make other people feel safe and comfortable. We don't want to do things that make people feel unsafe or uncomfortable. So if somebody says to us, please don't do that, I don't like that, stop, we need to listen to them and respect them also.